Bare necessity, but simple bare necessity. Bare necessity, but simple bare necessity.
Hey there, it's Reread and welcome to today's video, which is going to be a little funky. And the reason for that is because I lost half of the footage for this video. So this is actually future Brie starting the video, and then I have the middle section, and then I will have to come back and end the video. But I didn't want to scrap it, so here we are. So this is a trash or try video, which is basically an Unhaul series that I started where I go through and I find books that I know I for sure want to get rid of and books that I maybe want to get rid of. I go through and I tell you guys the ones that I'm for sure about, and then I go through and tell you guys the ones that I'm maybe about. Then I go through a process of 2 stages, 2.5, 3 stages sort of, to decide which ones I'm keeping and which ones I'm getting rid of those maybes. So here we go. Phase 1 is talk through all the books that I'm for sure about. I'm using my screen here to see if I can see all the books. So the first book that I got rid of was Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and I had 2 copies of this one, so I just got rid of the paperback because I have the collector's hardcover edition. I also got rid of a copy of Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. I have the paperback Barnes & Noble special paperback edition of that, so I didn't really need the original hardcover. 2 more duplicate copy things that I had was a copy of Edgar Allan Poe's best works. I have a complete copy, or a copy of his complete works, so I didn't really need this one. It's not even cute anyway, so I just went ahead and got rid of it. And then I also got rid of a copy of part of the Sherlock Holmes series. I have the complete collection, so I didn't need a partial. The last one of the ones that I was for sure getting rid of that was a red book was Jane by Eileen Bush McKenna. I read this twice, and the second time realized that I had trauma blocked part of this story. And go watch my rom-comathon vlog from 2023 if you want to hear what happened there. But next we have The Fitful Sleep of Immigrants. This one was in an unplugged book box, so it's a very beautiful edition of the book with sprayed edges and all of this, but it's not something that I'm interested in, and I'm trying to focus on only hanging on to what I am actively going to be reading and what I'm going to enjoy the process of reading. So I'm trying to, you know, cut back on things that are just going to sit on my shelf and go untouched. Other people will enjoy that more than me. And I believe it's historical as well, which I don't gravitate towards historical fiction. So I'm going to really start sliding those historical fictions that I have into my trash or tries, because I don't really read much historical fiction. Next we have The Hate List, something that I'd had previously, got rid of, and then found it again, and it was popular, and so I considered picking it up as a first time read situation. Also, it's like a hard-hitting topic, but it's YA, and the topic is not something I actually feel like I need to read about, so I decided to go ahead and pass that one along. The Field Guide to the North American Teenager. This one I'm sad about because I loved the concept of it being kind of, oh my goodness, kind of like based on the idea of it being kind of like a scientific approach. But I, over the last few years, have noticed a decline in my enjoyment of YA contemporary. I just realized that I wasn't actively interested in this one, and that it sounds like the main character is annoying and frustrating, and I don't particularly have an interest in reading from the perspective of an annoying and frustrating teenager. Now, if it was an adult that's annoying or frustrating, it could be different depending on what the plot is, but it being a teenager who is annoying and frustrating typically is more annoying and frustrating because reading from the perspective of a teenager can already be that way. So combine that with them being additionally more irritating. It was not gonna happen. Next we have The Weekenders by Mary Kay Andrews. This one is one that I picked up from a free little library and kind of held on to, trying to decide if I was gonna keep it or not. I had never officially hauled that one into my shelves, so I did put The Weekenders in the maybe category because I wanted to look into it and decide for sure. And then the other two maybe books that I had were The Inexplicable Logic of My Life, which I included because, again, with the YA contemporary thing, but also because I had read Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, and that wasn't really for me. I didn't really enjoy it. And so I was kind of skeptical reading another book from that author, but I wanted to, you know, give it a shot just in case. And then the last one was Supermarket by Bobby Hall. This one I had started reading previously and then was kind of on the fence about it because I had I want to say I had gotten maybe like 25 to 30 pages in, maybe a little bit further, maybe it was closer to 40 pages, but I had gotten a little bit under 50 pages in and was very like meh about it. It was weird. I was not enjoying the language and the writing, but I wanted to give it one more shot because it was an interesting premise set in the setting of a grocery store and blah blah blah. So I was like, I want to give it another shot. 2 by 2 by Nicholas Sparks. Last year I started my year by reading The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks, and that was a very tragic experience. And while I still have, I think it's called Every Breath, I still am keeping that one, and I'm gonna go back and take a look at it and decide for maybe the next round or two. Let's go on to Past Brie and what she had to say about those books that she tried and all of those things. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a little bit of looking at reviews, taking a quick look at one of my friends on Goodreads reviews for this. She talks about how one of the character we're following, she's waiting for her husband to arrive on the island and then gets divorce papers, but then her husband ends up dead, I guess, and then she ends up in this relationship like right after all of that, and I just feel like that's a little weird. I don't know. It just seems weird to me. So I think I'm just gonna pass this along because that part of it just didn't hit right for me, and it sounds like it's gonna be a little bit too soapy for me. So I'm gonna pass it on. I mean, we saw what happened with The Forever Summer. It was kind of a toss-up. And so if this is going to kind of have those same vibes, then I don't think that it's what I'm looking for. So next I'm going to look at Nicholas Sparks 2 by 2. I still have yet to look at The Woman in the Window. This one I feel like is going to be the hardest to decide what to do with. 2 by 2 first and see what I can find from that one, because I did see on this one that somebody was saying that it's a lot of internal monologue, which doesn't vibe with me very well. I like having a lot of dialogue better, so, like, or at least a balance. If there's only internal monologue, it's very hard to stay focused in the book for me personally. That didn't take too long. I decided I was going to flip through the back and see if there's anything intriguing to me from the back that made me want to read the book. And so spoilers, be warned. Skip ahead if you don't want to be spoiled for this book. But in the very end of the epilogue, we see him saying stuff about Marge, which is his sister. If you look at the synopsis, you'll find out it's his sister, apparently died. He's talking about it was a year to remember and a year to forget. He's not the same man he was 12 months ago, blah blah blah. In the end, he lost too much. The grief he felt about Marge was still too fresh, blah 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 blah. I don't know what else he lost, other than I know that his marriage clearly ended, because I flip forward, or I reverse back towards the further into the story, like away from the end. That didn't make sense. Whatever. And we're having like the dying moment, their last interaction, and Emily, she wheezed, "You have that with her." I love her. I agreed. Don't let her go. I won't. And don't cheat on her again. Or at least don't tell her. So I'm not reading this book. If you don't know, I have very strong feelings about cheating. I don't know if maybe Nicholas Sparks was just a one-hit wonder for me. And when I read the one book, Safe Haven, a long time ago, it was the one hit. Or what? But what the heck, dude? Let's take a look at The Woman in the Window. This one's gonna be hard because it was like the top thriller of the year that it was written, but then the next year is when all the stuff about AJ Finn came out. So I don't know what to expect as far as getting information about the book itself and deciding what to do about it. I think I've decided that I'm going to hang on to The Woman in the Window for now. Hello, quick update. The lighting may be a little funky because I'm doing this just off the cuff and not even plugging in my light, but I have decided to keep all 3 of these. I'm keeping and continuing. I think I'm going to try to go ahead and read these 2 before I finish out this video, but we'll see. I'm keeping Supermarket. I got a little bit further than I had read previously and it settled a little bit better, and there was a dog involved. Okay, and then I'm gonna hang on to The Inexplicable Logic of My Life, and I am going to also hang on to The Woman in the Window. Inexplicable, this one, I feel like the writing is, you know, still maybe not hugely for me, but I like the main character we're following a little bit better, I feel like, as far as like I can connect with this main character a little bit better. And then this one, I still don't know how to deal with the controversy, so I'm just gonna hang on to it for now and decide later. So I completed The Inexplicable Logic of My Life. And I'm so glad that I decided this round to actually sit down and actively try to finish the books that I was like kind of on the fence about, because I don't think I would have actively picked it up and finished it if I hadn't have made that decision. I would have, you know, said, oh, maybe, and I would have held on to it and put it back on my shelf and not actually made myself read it. We're gonna go with the auto white balance and see if that's better. As I said previously with this book, I have read Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, and I listened to that via audio exclusively. It was okay for me. It didn't hit quite as well for me as this one did. I think some of the pluses for this one that worked better for me is that this is focused on friendship. I feel like the author improved his flow a bit. It felt more flowy. Often books focus on a romance plot and it's like at the very forefront. And while romantic relationships are a big part of life, they're not always like at the main focus for someone, especially a younger person who is experiencing some big life changes. He's leaving, you know, he's in his senior year. He's leaving to go to college soon. He has decisions to make. He finds out new information. It's like a lot of things. His grandmother is unwell. There's a lot happening. His best friend experiences a very sudden change in her life, and that affects him as well. So there's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts happening in this story. And if we were to just look at it and if we were to just look at it and one of if the romance was in the forefront, or if the main character had a romance on the side, it would feel like way too much. It wouldn't feel natural, because a lot of times it feels like with everything that's going on, we also have to have this romance, and it also has to be like, especially for a senior year type story, will they stay together? Will they break up? Will they try to make it work long distance? Will they make a decision to go to the same school? And then one of them is going to say like, oh no, you can't do that for me. I'm going to break up with you so that you don't go to the school with me. And they're like, no, I actually really want to do this. I want to go to this school because I want to study so-and-so such and thing. You know, like it's like that kind of drama. This was not about any of that, because the romance scene for our main characters was irrelevant. And I loved that. Especially for high schoolers in their senior year, about to go through all these changes, and like life already throws a lot of extra change at them. I really appreciated that choice to not include additional drama. So I will be back to talk about Supermarket. Sorry that this clip doesn't look the best, but I wanted to quickly update that I have gone back to reading Supermarket since I last talked to you guys and told you guys I was going to continue with it, and I read a lot today. I went from being at page 50. Let's see, I didn't actually finish chapter 4 on that last time when I got to page 50, so I reread chapter 4. So I started my day on page 34 or 33, and I am currently on page 180. And I plan on trying to finish it tonight. The whole first part, some of the reasons why I was still disliking it previously are still kind of present. This like kind of weird, the kind of like uncomfortable feelings that I had are still relevant throughout that first part. But once we hit 150 and we switch from part 1 to part 2, or like honestly the last chapter or two leading up to part 2, you see the big shift really hit, and the tone changes a little bit with it, because up until then we're honestly in the character's perspective is different. Still enjoying it. I'm kind of enjoying it despite those things, because we know what we know. I did guess the twist prior to getting to it, but I still think it was very well done, and I appreciate the way that it was orchestrated. There was a lot of effort put into making it seem very realistic and believable as a setup to the twist. I am hopeful for the end. I will be checking back in with you guys once I finish to let you know my thoughts. Whether this was ghostwritten or not, I don't know. It does not have any mention of a ghostwriter. So all in all, I got rid of 10 books and kept 3 books, which is pretty solid. I would say, and 2 of those 3 books I fully read. So that took a total of a total of 7 books off of my TBR side of my shelves. Whether it was because I finished them too, or because I just decided to get rid of them, the other 5. So all in all, pretty solid. I do plan on really digging in to this series more this year, because I want to clean out my TBR side of my shelves really well, curate what I'm having come in and stay, and fine-tuning what I'm picking up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My next trash or try will be coming in a few months, maybe another 2 or 3 months, I don't know, but it's gonna be a lot more maybe book heavy, and it's gonna have more books in it, so it'll be an adventure. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night, whatever time it is for you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below so that you can join the Bear Scouts, and the notification bell down below so that you'll be notified when I post, but most importantly so that I can see you again very soon. Peace out, Bear Scouts.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your stress. I mean it, bare necessities. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life. Yeah, with just the bare necessities of life.